Good evening, everybody. It's Dee here. An evening one this time. Mars in Virgo's been keeping me very busy with all these aspects this week, so I've been out and about with work. So, like I say, lots going on, and I've been caught up in the thick of that with having Mars in Virgo myself, and lots of things happening there, and work things keeping me very busy. So, this week, we continue with Virgo's busyness, basically. There is a lot going on in the skies. Compared to August, when it felt like we were on our holidays and the only aspects really were the trines to Jupiter, September is really crazy in terms of planets in conversation with each other, and the skies are awash with lots of things. Some very positive, others more challenging. So at the start of that this week, first week back into September, for most people here in the UK, it's the first week back to school and college, so everybody's getting out of their holiday mode into work mode again and getting back to it in no uncertain terms. But the first thing I want to talk about, because there's a couple of those this week, one that happened yesterday and one that happens on Wednesday, which is a Cazimi. And I wanted to first of all explain what a Cazimi is and how it is relevant to our astro weather. So a Cazimi comes from the Arabic, which means at the heart of. So it's when a planet closes in on the sun or the sun closes in on a planet. So we've had two of those, or we will have had two of those this week. The first one was Mars yesterday, and then Mercury will happen on Wednesday. So what happens with that is that the sun's light is so bright, when you're in the heart of the sun's fire, the planet doesn't shine for itself. It gets kind of consumed in the heart of, as the explanation says, in terms of the translation, so that it loses some of its power and its momentum to the sun. So how is that significant? So it will undoubtedly dampen down some of the more negative effects of the opposition, for example, to Neptune and the square to Jupiter that happens this week with some of the Virgo planets. It's also significant as well with Mars in particular, because this ends a 2-year cycle. So every 2 years this aspect will happen, and this is one of them that will happen. So we're at the end of a cycle. So particularly if you've got planets in Virgo, it's a good time to look back on the last 2 years and see where your journey's been telling you to go, and where you should be heading. I'd say, I think with everything with Virgo this week, if you've got strong Virgo presence or mutable presence, particularly around 16 degrees, you will feel the effects of this. And because all the Virgo stuff is hitting all the big stuff, so this week it's the turn of Saturn mainly, but also to Neptune and Jupiter as well. So particularly if you have planets in Virgo, most definitely you need to be looking for patterns and where things are happening for you. But also, if you're Gemini, Pisces or Sagittarius, you will also have these going on. And also the cardinals as well will be highlighted this week, obviously with the aspects to Saturn and to Pluto. So those guys will be getting some of those encounters as well. But I would say it's not the stuff that happened in July. The next big dose of the difficult stuff won't come for quite a while. We'll get a little bit of a hit in Libra in sort of end of September, beginning of October. But this is trying stuff, and I think that actually Virgo is very, very well placed to deal with a lot of this busy activity, because there's nothing a planet in Virgo likes better than to have lots of things to do and be multitasking. And if you think of it, the planets having conversations with each other, whether those be difficult or not so difficult, and Virgo being Mercury ruled, it doesn't mind any of this stuff. So if it's got 1,001 jobs to do, really doesn't mind at all. It's like, come on, hit me up, I'm here for it, I'm ready for it. And like I said before, I have Mars in Virgo and I'm very much like that. It's like, give me 1,000,001 jobs to do and I'll just get on with them and get down to it. Um, so I think that when you've got those trines to Saturn this week, you know, if I just check my book to make sure what dates we've got those going down. So we've got Mercury trine to Saturn on the 5th. We've got Sun trine to Saturn on the 6th. This is like your chance to kind of refocus, and Saturn goes direct next week, just before the full moon, when everything will hit upon all these Virgo-ness and Neptune-ness and Pisces-ness again. It's the time to set things in motion once more. So Saturn's been going backwards for 4 months. Maybe a stall on some of these developments and plans that you've been trying to put into place. So as of next week, we're sort of gearing up now towards that. Come on, let's get going with this. And Virgo definitely helps with that. You know, it can provide that analytical, critical brain to proceedings, so that it can say, well, what's worth proceeding with, what's good to keep, what's good not to keep, you know, wheat from the chaff, as I've said before. So you know, it's time to get to work again. But you know, it's not difficult this time. It's like, you know, the Virgo planets are there to help you with this. So it's like almost looking forward to like the going back to school bit. It's the looking forward to setting off on a new challenge again and getting down to that hard work. You know, head down, keep going kind of an idea. And even with the squares, this square and the opposition this week to Jupiter and Neptune, I don't really see those as being a bad thing, because I think that because the trines are so solid in Earth, anything that Neptune and Jupiter provide will be additional good, because you know because both of those planets can get a bit carried away with things. And I think that the nice thing about Virgo and Capricorn is that they can bring things down to earth a bit, but also Jupiter and Neptune can liven up the Capricorn and Virgo side too. So you got a nice balance of the two there. So when the planets are square to Jupiter in Sagittarius this week, so again I'll just double check on my notepad. So you've got the the Venus opposition Neptune is on the 4th, which is tomorrow, and you have got Mercury opposition Neptune on the 7th, and you have got Mercury square to Jupiter on the 6th, which is the Saturday. All this stuff is like you're beginning to see the sort of landscape of things that you need to be doing, because you know, say all those Virgo planets are discerning, they're sifting out, what is it I need to do, when do I need to do it by, you know, get your sleeves rolled up, let's get down to it. And Jupiter is saying, well, okay, so you've got all this going on, let's see how far we can take this, let's make things a little bit bigger and grander. So steering away from kind of that kind of small detail focusedness that Virgo can sometimes do. Jupiter's offering us the opportunity to look up and to see the bigger picture, and I think that that's sometimes very needed, even though it's hard for anything in Virgo to do, is to see that big picture. But it certainly is helpful, and I think particularly in these circumstances, when you're looking at ways forward for yourself over the next few years, which obviously Saturn and Pluto do, they look forward for quite a sort of like the long view of things. Jupiter's saying to the planets in Virgo and to Saturn, Pluto and Capricorn, come on guys, let's be a bit more imaginative with this. You know, we can go big here, we can do things a little bit brighter and a little bit better. And even with that opposition to Neptune, it's the same kind of thing. You know, it's kind of like, what embellishments, what beautiful embellishments can we provide to the things that you're doing? So people often see Virgo as the artisan, and the craftsman. That's one of the images that are associated with Virgo. So if you can imagine the artisan at work, and suddenly Neptune and Jupiter come into it and say, right, instead of making a little jewellery box here that's plain and simple, let's make a cabinet and let's put wonderful embellishments on it and let's make it look beautiful and something a lot bigger than you could have ever have imagined. Saturn in Capricorn and Sun, Venus, Mars will not let Jupiter and Neptune get carried away, which is what is good about it, because I mean the problems with Jupiter and Neptune is they can get a bit carried away sometimes. So if you've got those two reigning things in that kind of trine aspect, then obviously that's all to the good, and you can only find positive things to come of that. You know, as long as you stay on the side of the earth, rather than getting carried away with the fire and the water there. So yeah, lots of things happening in the skies this week. Look at the messages that it's sending you now, particularly with Saturn stationing direct. So particularly for those people with 13-degree cardinals, you will get that back forward a little bit with Saturn highlighting your charts and going, you know, this is the bit we're going to shine on, this is the bit that you need to do the work on. So look for where it is, as I always say, look for which house your Capricorn is in, and then what's happening, where are the squares to it if you're a fellow cardinal, where are the trines to it if you're a fellow earth. The other thing to bear in mind as well this week is that Jupiter and Neptune meet for the last time. So whatever blessings they want to bestow upon you, take advantage of them now in this last quarter of the year. It's like Jupiter and Neptune allow you to think bigger, to think brighter, to think bolder. And before next year, when Jupiter goes into Capricorn and closes everything down somewhat, those kind of ideas to go big and to try out something new and different and grander than you've ever thought before, this is the time to do it. So make the most of this opportunity, so that by the time things go, Jupiter sort of clamps down a little bit in Capricorn as of December, you will have already laid the ground and things will get underway. So even if then things become a little more tricky, you've already got things underway. So, you know, now is the time to think big, be bold, use those earth skills, use the Virgo Capricorn to help plough those fields and those furrows for the future, so that you can see those seeds develop over the next few months and the next few years, so that even when the hard times come, those seeds are safely planted in the ground and they're not going to be blighted by any problems, not too difficult problems along the way. These next couple of weeks, they will continue this, and we'll go into the full moon next week, and then after that things change quite dramatically as everything shifts into Libra, and the emphasis on sort of the mind and the intellect and Mercury and earthly things will then move, particularly as Venus moves into her own sign. So the dance of Mercury Venus that's been going on, as the two have been together for quite a number of months now, changing signs together. So you've gone from being the Mercury being on the upper hand, with it being a Virgo these last few weeks, to Venus having the upper hand, shining her beautiful light on us as of next week. So more of that then, and then obviously moving into sort of more cardinal action with the big stuff. But yeah, I think, you know, the time of year, particularly here in the UK, of getting back to things, getting routine again, making plans again, getting established, getting out your lazy head and back into doing some work. It's a good opportunity to start good new routines, practices, and to finally make the most of what is left of the Jupiter in Sag for this year. So enjoy your week. I know that I will, and I'm sure that I'll be very busy doing so as well. Yes, take care of yourselves, and I will speak to you very soon. See you soon. Bye bye.